Zone. The chair is against the wall. The chair is against the wall. John has a long mustache. John has a long mustache. It's 12 o'clock, Americans, another day closer to victory. And for all of you out there on or behind the lines, this is your song.
Buy things at gearwebsites.com.
And welcome everybody to our daily gun show. Come to you live every weeknight at midnight Eastern, and we talk about guns. And unlike the cowards and charlatans, the manipulators that run the daytime chats, we throw links out there, even on our daytime chats, because this is truly about a conversation about guns and not some fake agenda, hidden fake agenda. So if you're interested in talking about guns, join in. If you're not, keep moving, and we'll be back to pick you up later. So let's see, this is our second live broadcast today because we're the hardest working live chat that exists. All the other live chats should barely happen once a week, and they act like it's such a big deal, and blah, 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 and it's so hard, difficult. This is our second one today. What we do 3-4 hours earlier today without even thinking about it, and now we're going to do another however long it happens, because this show isn't scripted or calculated or engineered or created. It is, like I said, is created by the viewers, by the people that are involved in the conversation, and it's the same thing as no one shows up, then it doesn't get created, I guess. So let's see what happens tonight. Oh yeah, tonight we're giving away a flag, right? So I'm gonna go figure out where I put that list at. I'm pretty sure I know. Right here, maybe. I'm not screen sharing. Good. Uh-oh. How about you just do what I told you to? Quit trying to do whatever you think you're trying to do. And then I come over here and go like this a bunch of times. And it says two-way rally flag. That's what I thought. And now I can go over here and look underneath here. I had this all up to date as of 17th. So let's see if anything sold since 17th. Yeah, not really. Let's see. I have this one in here. No. So there's one. Oh, should have done it this way. So there's one, and then what is this? There's one, and this is not one. This is somebody that didn't even buy one, so this is something else. I already sent, and yeah. I sent them a flag as a free Patch Friday thing, but they didn't actually order a flag, so it doesn't count, I guess. So we're going to go over here and add this person to the list. So raked it in, selling 21 of these things, insert above, and put this number in here for absolutely no reason, just because I've been doing it. But it makes them never mind to nobody. And then this could be, let's call it this number right here, even though nobody else ordered one. I'll leave the time in there. And what was it? It was a 2020. And I'll put a 1 right there. All right, so here's the deal. A couple of people bought more than one because they bought more than one, I guess. I don't know why they bought it. But then that makes more than one entry, right? So What do I do? I should have probably done this ahead of time, I guess. I'm just gonna. So this dude here bought 4. So copy. Let's paste, paste, paste. That's basically 4. 1, 1, 1. Oh, there's a 2. So I'm gonna insert 1. And then copy this and paste. Weird lurking. One of my cats passed away. I'm not in good company. Yeah, I hear that, dude. That sucks. Hopefully it was after a long time of having a good time being a cat. Highlight this one and copy and paste. This one is Ozzy got 2, so we'll copy this one. Insert above and paste. This person got 3. Insert and over here. Paste and paste. Then this person got 2. Insert and copy and paste. So this should be everybody. So there through there. All right. And then let me just double check. Oh, I didn't put their name in. Who is this person's name? This. And no, that was their only one. Yeah, yeah. All right, so now we got a 1. We got 2. We got 1. Got 3. We got 1. 1. 2. Let's see how that worked. 1. Well, 4 months old was baby kitty. So is well, we're not to dwell on it, but that sucks to hear, man. There and there. 3. All right. So now I can go over to the magic. Let me see. How can I do this on the screen? Is there a way to do this on the screen? Yeah, I can go 1, 2, a 3, so forth. And like this. Oh no, it didn't work. And then highlight all 3 of these. All right, so it came out to be 28. So now I can do this, I guess. Then I can try screen share. That work? Yeah. And minimize that, I guess. So now, oh, here's this. But if I want to, I can flip over to, oh, no, it didn't work. What are you fucking doing? All right. So there's that list. This is the people. You can't see because you're not seeing this. Yeah, good. So over to the left of here, though, is much people. Or their names or whatever. All right, so now we'll go over here to random. That's weird. So I'm just gonna go type random.org. There we go. I don't know what all that other stuff was, but I'm used to using this for my randomness. Ugh, no, please. All right, so what did I say? 28 is the number over here. If anybody has any opinion on what we end up with here, but we'll see how it goes down. Boom, 19. Boom. Oh, you know who just won this thing? Oh, snap. Just slide his name over right here. Boom, Pink just won this thing. So that's going to piss off a couple of people, but whatever. Now that guy can do with what he wants with that flag. So he ain't here, so I don't think. So just have to, I'll try emailing him again, let him know that he got a flag. All right, well, that's sort of lame because that's the dude running the thing. So scam, total ripoff. Y'all bought patches like suckers, and I ended up giving the patch to Pincus. Or I mean, I ended up giving the flag to Pincus. So I'm going to go ahead and hit this button again, assuming he's going to be like, I don't want that because that's bogus ripoff or whatever. And then we'll go to 11. And that would be this dude who people have heard of before. Named, wait, 11 or 9? What the hell's going on here? Yeah, this one. Right? Yeah. So that would be Travis. Oh, wait, what the hell? It's not supposed to be 11. Did it this way? How do we do this? 11. Okay. Oh, screwing around with people's emotions. Boom, Ozzy wins. So we're going to see if Pincus wants it. Either Pincus will get it, or they'll say, I don't want that thing, and then Ozzy will get it. Oh, there's Clovertech jumping in.
Good evening.
Right. I don't know what's going on. I'm not even getting a notification. I do it secretly because I'm not out there passionate about the fame or the glory. Every night, 9 o'clock, well, midnight for you, most of you people. Show up and it'll be here.
Yeah.
But, we just gave away a flag. Pincus won it.
Really?
Yeah, but I drew again and then Ozzy won. So I'm going to let Pincus have it if he wants it because he technically won and he did buy patches. I gave him as many as I gave you, probably more. I don't know. How many did I give you? Did I send you any?
Send me what? Oh, the patch.
The 2A rally ones.
I got one for each set that I bought.
Oh, well, I didn't give you nothing because you didn't get your box or whatever. But, people that are involved or whatever, there's a shit ton. So I gave a bunch of them right. So I already gave him 6 or something or 8. I don't remember.
Mm-hmm.
And then he ended up buying some anyway. So he won fair and square. But it's giant scam if I just give it to Pincus. So
He'll give it up, I'm sure.
Yeah, he might want it though. That's the thing. I don't know. He might want it.
I doubt it.
And the thing is, he'll be here on Saturday for the NRA thing anyway, so I can just give it to him.
Well, that's true.
And I don't know how bad Ozzy wants it. It's a giant flag. What are you going to do with it? Travis almost won it, but I was just messing with him. I had my spreadsheet all screwed up. It's because I'm trying to run my spreadsheet over the corner here. I'm not used to this because I have one monitor now because I'm civilized, and now I'm trying to do this screwed over here. And here, I'll just do this. See how there's a bunch of names right there? Oh, no, that's a bunch of cities. Yeah, that won't. Oh, no, that's a bunch of the identifiers. And I got screwed up, and I picked 9 at first, and that was Travis. So he's out there raw with emotion right now because he almost won a flag. It got taken away from him. Anyway, yeah, so boom, we're done. So that was my thing. I've been not feeling great, so I've been wasn't sure what the show was going to do today. Clover's in here, so we'll see if you got topics or what. See how many people showed up just for the flag hype, and then how many people leave because the flag event is over.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. What did you have a show today? Or no, yesterday, huh?
No, I had one yesterday.
Yeah. What's his face was doing a show about conscription. He had a conscription show on Ghost Show earlier.
Yeah, I guess.
And then, I'm getting all mixed up. You had a show yesterday with,
Who did I have?
I was going to say Flying
Rich. Yeah.
Rich. Yeah. See, I don't know that guy as much as, I don't know. I get that guy, I guess. Does that guy hang out in live chats?
Flying Rich? Yeah, he's kind of part of the Hank Strange crew, I guess you would kind of.
Then I'm probably dyslexic enough that I'm mixing him up with Rich White's thing or something, probably, or something.
Yeah, probably so.
Yeah, he's one of them other people that hangs out in some other group of people, I guess.
Yeah.
Anyway, so you had him on, and then something else was yesterday. So yeah, I've kind of been catching them, but working on things. So
Outlaws, he's been back. Ellis has been back. He had a pretty good one while I was able to get in and hang around. I was having some internet problems last night for some reason. I think I got a router going bad.
Definitely a lot, but this is, I would say, normally a busy time of year period, but then this is an unusual year. So if anything is getting taxed, I'm sure it's the internet lines or the internet infrastructure.
You would think. I mean, normally, I'm seeing a trend sort of kind of going down, and talking to some of the other guys, of seeing a trend as far as views and things, right? Kind of starting to taper off, kind of go down. And it's really weird because a couple of months ago, they should have started to build up. Our cycles typically, for most creators that I look at, I talk to a lot, of course, and our cycles for, gun related stuff tend to like peak at the first part of the year around SHOT Show, and they taper off to like the middle of the year, and then they build back up. But what's weird is everything has built up since SHOT Show, and it's like now they're starting to taper off. So I think it's the weirdness of 2020 that's kind of thrown a kink in the ebb and flow of what we normally see.
Yeah, it's too early to see what's happening or what. But yeah, this is what I normally see. I don't think it's SHOT Show, maybe Christmas I would say Christmas gets a peak because of everything. It's a peak at, well, not everything. A lot of things get a peak at Christmas that are anywhere near buying a gift for somebody. So
Right.
a lot of things get a peak. And then there's, then the next peak is the next Christmas, really. So normally what I would see would be like for doing stuff online, zoom in on this, I'm screen sharing still, is like here we would be like winter and then like spring and summer and fall and winter. I guess that's the way to look at it. So like this is winter and fall.
Mm-hmm.
Local thing. And then this is the middle. So what would be is like hunting and then fishing, hunting and then fishing. So when I would do stuff back in the day, it would be like we'd talk about hunting and fishing, and then hunting and this kind of shit, and then it would be fishing and that kind of stuff.
Right.
And they complemented each other because fishing is more like nobody goes fishing in Christmas and everybody goes fishing here. Nobody goes fishing at Christmas, everybody goes fishing here. So there was sort of this like off and on. And then I got out of the fishing because I'm just not fishing. I got into the guns and stuff. So then I definitely was in this hunting and buying stuff for Christmas cycle. And then let me get rid of like 6 lines here. Once you get back to this, like, Christmas or winter time, there's this hill. Right. Then it was like YouTube would do their shit, like mess with the system here. And then this is where this is like where you should have been paying attention. And this is where you'd make your money every year. So yeah, you made your money on YouTube at Christmas time, right. But you weren't going to make money if you didn't prep. If you weren't right now in the midst of making money, you weren't making no money. You would just sort of go like this. You would grow, but you would never peak. And then here is where everybody would quit YouTube and gripe and complain and moan. Man, I don't know how many years of live chats. And this time, so after February, March, right? Like when kids are getting out of school, boom, that's when YouTube decides, hey, we got to try like flipping this into that and trying 6 of these instead of 10 of those. Right. That's when they do all that, and it goes nuts because that's the time when they could care less because nobody cares about nothing on the downsweep of all that. Everybody's just living off of that, whatever. It's Valentine's Day. Nobody gives a crap about anything, right?
Right, yeah.
So that's when they ruined everything and changed everything. And man, that's when I got sick of it. That's honestly when I started building gun channels. Is when I was like, we need to get out of this rut because every year people quit right here. The fly-by nights. They're like, oh, I can make money on YouTube. Oh, no, I didn't. And then they quit. And then a bunch of them will be like, wow, look at all those people make money on YouTube. They'll try it for about a year, quit, right? So you'd always have this like bunch of people that were about to quit because they're losers and they're quitters. And then you have a bunch of people that, were, I don't know, and then, and then people that have been doing it long enough would agree with me. So I was like, I might be onto something here because other people see this phenomenon. So yeah, that's what normally we'd be in a place where YouTube is not touching nothing. Like they are not normally they would not screw with anything. Like this isn't the time to experiment or play. But then you look at 2019 and in this time of year, September, hey, let's turn off Hangouts. Why not? Let's just turn off live.
Right.
So there's definitely no consistency. There's just trends or basic kind of patterns you can kind of see over time. Mm-hmm. But yeah, we'll have to see what this ends up being. This year is going to be some kind of loop-de-loop or weird.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. And it's different. It's different for different creators too. Like for me, for example, I peaked at SHOT Show, then for whatever reason fell off a cliff. And so about a month ago, I finally built back up to that SHOT Show level.
It kind of talks what you're talking about too. Are you talking about views? Are you talking about like subscriber numbers?
We're talking about view. We're talking about view counts. What we're talking about, but it built and then it fell off a cliff. And about 2 months ago, I built up to about the same, and so I'm still on an upward trajectory. It's just slowed significantly. However, you've got people like Snob, like Ghost, that they never slowed down at all after SHOT Show. They just kept on going up and have gone up ever since. But now
You don't hang out on Reddit all the time.
it's starting to level. Do what now?
You don't hang out on Reddit all the time like him. That's fine.
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what it is. Well, I know what it is. I mean, Snob has done some 2A stuff, and I think that's helped. And then Ghost, of course, with his tactical and concealed carry stuff, and a lot of the panic buy and rush thing that's gone on, I'm sure has helped tremendously with that. So it's topical, is what it is. I mean, I'm not losing in search volume and things like that. I'm winning that game big time, but I just don't have anything trendy. You know what I mean?
No, not really. I mean, not to be a dick, I just don't follow it anymore. So,
Yeah.
but when you're talking views as opposed to like money or sub count or some other number, because every number is sort of a different thing, right? To test a different,
absolutely,
whatever. Views is dependent on. Normally it's dependent on the other side, like what the viewer wants. So it depends on like if it's a good economy and like if people are watching videos, if it's cold out. Because there's been times where back in the olden days when I gave a shit about making videos and I knew the game and I knew the formula. You'd make your good video on Thursday and you had your schedule. So if you'd set everything up to do something and you expected it to follow through and you were kind of monitoring in order to make sure that monitoring, I guess the way I say it, monitoring that it is still happening that way. Every once in a while, you'd see a fluctuation. And then when you come up for air, especially as somebody who's working on this stuff, you're not really paying attention to the day-to-day news. You'd notice something in the, in the numbers and you'd come up for air and go, what the hell? And then you'd figure out there's a storm or like some fire knocked down a town's internet. And you're like, wow, I noticed that. Like when a chunk of the country is, having a snowstorm or a rainstorm or something, that affects views.
Right.
And the opposite, if everybody's bored and it's winter and everybody's got good internet, then all of a sudden views go up everywhere. Sure. And then then it's the, who is in the pipe, like who is ready, because when a rush comes, we're dealing with streams now instead of, in this kind of scenario, we're talking a wave, I guess, or flow of people as opposed to a trail or a path being laid down. So in other words, it's going to come like a tidal wave and just get everything wet. So it's sort of like if you're standing on the beach, you're going to get wet. So if you're standing on the beach and you're there to collect water, get ready to collect water. You're going to get it. But if you're standing on the beach and let's say you had poor content or in content of some topic people aren't interested in, the wave's going to come by, but they're not going to saturate your particular content. So it's just a matter of what they're interested in, what the flavor of the day is, like what they're interested in finding. And who is, who sets who's in those parameters in front of them or not. And anyway, so I think some of that, especially when we're talking about the numbers we're talking about, thousands, hundreds of views and stuff, like those are kind of the splash. The big stuff is happening at the giant, whatever, political conversations, probably maybe the movie star crap. Like, the big conversations are amplified versions of what we're dealing with. We're dealing with the little tiny fluctuations. Like I'm sure if this was the fluctuations of of typical Hollywood crap and political topics, guns probably is this big on Google's radar. I mean, we're not exactly number one topic for them.
We've
but
done that before.
Little wave is a big trend.
Yeah,
wave for us.
We've looked at before on a show before. Looked at the different search terms and different things and how they compare. And you remember that show where we did that? It was really interesting.
Oh, you're talking about in here, like when we were kind of doing stuff like screwing around with whether or not Google or Facebook was bigger or smaller in search.
No, I mean it's been a while ago, maybe been years ago, but we was actually comparing different search terms and stuff.
Well, but I mean on that same thing, whatever that it was, that Google
similar,
thing or whatever it is. But yeah, like just typing in guns versus rifles or guns versus fishing or something. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, and like I said, this isn't the year to do that, though. Like whatever is normal, this year isn't. So I don't think that necessarily means do something that isn't normal. It just means you can't expect normal results. You can't expect the same results as normal. So there's going to be a bit of randomness. And I think, I don't know, just like maybe a betting or like investing or anything, when you've got a fluctuation in this norm, you don't just start adjusting all your strategies for that fluctuation, right? Maybe if you've got enough resources, you can say, I don't want a giant thing to disrupt everything, so I can spend 10 or 15% of my resources on getting ready for this, preparing for this in the future. But since it's a one in a lifetime experience, at least at this point, it wouldn't be necessarily. I wouldn't think it's smart to tool up for like a weird year, in other words, or to get ready for the next weird year.
Right.
It's just too tough. I mean, unless you did something, and we got such a weird year, and it's focused on politics. So if it was like a weird year out of nowhere, everybody'd be like, "Wow, this is a weird thing to have happened." But because it's happening right in the middle of an important political year, another important political year, however you want to look at it, and it's too easy to look at it as like all of this is manipulated, results of just tons of manipulation, right? Everybody pulling in every direction. At some point, things are going to start to get stressed, and that's what we're seeing. Usually everybody's not pulling in every direction. So this stress situation is unnatural, right? It's not a fluctuation in the norm. It's a manufactured extreme. And assuming it doesn't rip the whole fabric of everything, which it probably won't, we'll come back out and get back to a norm. And that's when we'd want to be planning stuff again, I would think. Or at least that's prudent, right? The wise or the frugal or whatever, prudent. I don't know what the word is for that. Like the conservative way of looking at it, maybe.
Right.
I don't even know if that is, though. I think it's just practical. Conservative makes me think like defaulting to safe no matter what for some reason. And I don't know if it's like, I don't know. Well, we're talking about a lot of shit here, I guess. So other than that, I think that was talking about your Monday show. Over the weekend, you were listening to the Locked and Loaded show a little bit.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
That was...
it's a good show.
Yeah, that was a 3-hour one with Edgar. We talked about that a little bit yesterday. It wasn't a big show yesterday. Nobody showed up. And so got a bunch of people that showed up. Maybe they were looking for the flag. There wasn't really that many people that bought flag patches, so I can't imagine that many people showed up for just the flag. But if you were online and looking to chat, you found a place where it is an actual conversation. You can click on the link that Clover clicked on over there. Because unlike the timid, scared, scripted daytime gun chats, we offer a link. Be part of this conversation. Know that it's not fake because you're part of it. I've been working on the museum tour thing, to tidy it up, and I didn't know what was happening with this stuff this week. I don't know if I talked about it with you or not, but the NRA show is in Tucson on Saturday. I shouldn't say the NRA show, the NRA annual meeting of members.
Yeah.
So it's going to be something on Saturday at the same time as the 2A rally. So that's super interesting. And some people will be in Tucson, I guess. So, I figure I'm kind of letting myself not get too tight down so I can see what kind of, how the week comes out.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. I'm mildly excited to see how the 2A rally is gonna be. I'm gonna, if not tomorrow, definitely by Thursday, I'm gonna try to put out some kind of little video. I've got some things put together for that. I haven't decided whether or not I'm gonna do a watch party thing with it or not. I may. Kind of depends on how things go, but I'm mildly excited. I mean, it's compared to GRPC, right, and everything that went on there. I'm going to be curious to see what it's like.
Yeah, I am. Except that I shouldn't say except that. It'll be interesting. I think the hell chat. I was in somebody's chat. Was it Gary's chat? No, I remember somebody's chat over the weekend, and I don't know if I brought up the rally or somebody brought up the rally, and then there was definitely like negative opinion of it, like not just like impartiality or like whatever, but like, oh, that's horrible. Oh, you know what it was? Is somebody brought up the thing in Pennsylvania, the rod of iron thing.
Oh yeah,
you were for that conversation, that back and forth.
So I don't think so.
Somebody was like, hey, you should promote. Why aren't y'all promote, or not like that, but like y'all should promote the rod of iron. And then people started saying stuff, and I forget who was like, isn't that the Mooney money? And I'm like, well, it's definitely Mooney money. Plus, it's a paid for event. It's not even like the Pennsylvania blah 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 week long festival where they have some kind of show for a week and then it's kind of like a trade show. But this is literally just like a show up and get free hot dogs and have listen to music, and there'll be like pop-ups with product like display, like not teeny, but like hands-on, fiddle with product, and then but everything from I think food to Harley stuff to flags and just merch sales, and then guns was included. It wasn't like firearms focused. I think it was half religion, half Republican, half conservative, half
Yeah.
ready to vote, right? And that's all good. It's just that it wasn't 100% like a 2A thing by any means. It was just 2A adjacent or what. And it's a thing, but it's also put on by a company that owns 2 firearm manufacturers. So it's not like, it was an industry and they weren't paying for their own marketing. And I don't think they reached out to anybody. So when you're paying for the marketing, it was Carr and Magnum Research.
Yeah, Magnum Research. Yeah.
And I guess that also means Thompson. So depending on how you want to say it, they own 3 different firearms lines, traditional, and they're a big company. They're not struggling or nothing. So anyway, I just like, whatever. And then there was like a bit of, well, this free stuff is, anyway, people have negative attitude about it. So then when even today, when I did a thing earlier, I'm not going to say it was negative, but people were certainly not like jazzed off of last year's, because the last year's event was, well, it, but for people that don't know, last year's event was sort of announced, let's say, I thought it was like 2 or 3 weeks. I guess it was technically 5 weeks ahead of when it happened. So gun rights policy was like the 26th. That's pretty much when it was announced. And it wasn't like, hey, we're announcing something. It was just like all of a sudden this thing was around and then it was announced, right? Like after everybody kind of already heard about it. But it was hardly like, oh, and there's going to be a big announcement and here's what the big announcement is, and nothing like that. So last year it was sort of just like there, and then it became a rolling ball or whatever, like got bigger as it went on. And it was completely unplanned and completely designed to be like a one-time thing, affiliated, unsponsored, nonpartisan and all that. So complaining that it wasn't put together better, organized better, it didn't have better communication. Like, I guess that's I don't want to say it's a valid complaint. It's a complaint you can have, but I think it's potentially unrealistic when you understand that the thing's supposed to be, what's the word, like, grassroots. Like, it's supposed to just barely exist and it's up to the individuals to make it a thing, right? Like, you can't really put a lot of rules on something where you're trying to leave it open source. Right. So I could understand some frustration, but at the same time, I don't really understand a whole bunch of negative frustration about last year's event. And then since I guess there's not a lot of knowledge about it, I could understand, I guess, being upset that this event is happening this year. But yeah, there's like been more than just like indifference, but like, like like aggression almost towards it. So that's weird. Well, it's not weird. It's just an aspect of whatever that is annoying that we've got to overcome. And I don't know if we're gonna, because I don't know, does anybody have a lot of ambition to change the mind of somebody who's ornery, or somebody that like doesn't agree with, I don't know, volunteerism or I don't know what to call this, like just it's participation if you want to, voluntary participation. Is that the way I said? Like there's no win for joining the rally, right? There's no badge you get. You don't get better recognition or reputation score or nothing. It's not like you get a little tag like on eBay every time you sell something, you get a little number.
Right.
Going to the rally is going to the rally. And if you think you need to, if you go to something expecting to get like a flyer or some kind of handout that solves the world's problems for you, I'm exaggerating, but if you expect to get something at the rally that offers you the answer or directions to find the answer, I don't think that's realistic. But I think if you can make opportunity when it's offered, that's where we have the potential. So anyway, I don't know. I've seen I've always had, there's always going to be difference of opinion and negative opinion of, I don't know, any agenda or any position, right? But I just don't understand, I guess, the opposition to something that's open source. I guess it's sort of like if somebody who was super Mac came up and was like, I can't understand you Linux people. I mean, I don't understand Linux people either, but I'm not going to get mad at them for liking Linux and not liking Mac. I can not like Mac as much as anybody, and I have to settle with Windows. Honestly, I think in a lot of ways, the whole gun thing is kind of like that, right? Like none of us are really Democrats, none of us are really Republicans. We have to deal with one or the other most of the time because we don't have much choice. And both Democrats and Republicans are going to rag on anybody who, is free thinking, basically. And if you stand too close to any of them, the other two think that you're in cahoots.
Right. Yeah. Yep. It's just the way that everybody's conditioned,
Maybe, but I think it's ending. And that's what I was going to get to. We kind of went down a weird tangent here, but whatever. That's what the show's about. And anybody out here can be part of this. So due to saying he's Linux people, yeah, right on. We know Linux people. Night Strike hangs out with us. He constantly talks about Linux all the damn time. And I got nothing against it. If I was using smaller machines, I'd be using it. If I had nothing to do on my machine, using the shit out of Linux. I just have to constantly use my machine like this. I'm not running Adobe on Linux that I know of. Am I going to have a watch party? I think so. Why not? I'm all about it. Plus, I got a big enough channel that I can add.
True.
Right. If I plug it into my big channel, it's advantageous to the smaller channel. So I have no problem with that at all. Whether or not people are going to show up, probably not, because I'm a dick and I say it like it is, and I don't bend over and pat everybody on the head every time they do anything. So it probably won't be a real help for them, and it'll probably be like today's, where I basically laid into somebody who was giving me shit. Not giving me shit, but giving shit to the concept of having a rally. Because last year's was bad. So like they weren't perfect last year. Why support this one?
Right.
Okay, I'll answer the question, but I'm not going to leave that live because I was sort of a dick answering the question. That's probably what it'll be this week. As I say, I'm not really here to lay down a bunch of videos that people will go, oh, wow, there you go. That's the answer. I'm just opening up rooms that allow, I think 10 people can jump in here, even though I'm not paying for duck. I'm just trying to lay down rooms that people can evolve the conversation in. But I don't know. I think it'll. The other thing is, like I say, if I got to go to the place for the NRA thing, it's not like I can. They're not having it here, so I got to go to it. And if I go to it, I think someone said you can launch Duck on your phone now. So I guess I had to try that before Friday or before Saturday. And then I can do it. Or I got to bring a laptop and leave it at the van. I'm not invited to the NRA thing. Totally just going there to go there, right? So it's not like I'm not going to be in there unless they let me in or something.
All right.
You could dress like a waiter, maybe. Do one of them kind of deals.
Yeah.
But I guess now would be the day. I could go over there now. What do I got to do? I got to wait for somebody to be like leaving the employee area, like the employee lounge, go get a cigarette. And that's when I'll stick a piece of tape on the door. And when nobody's looking, I'll sneak in there, grab myself a spare uniform, like one of the bellhops or whatever. Something good, though, like maintenance, so that I can get a pass key and go around. Grab one of the pass keys, because those will be labeled pass key somewhere. Sure. And then, then maybe one of them trays that you put like a room service order on. Mm-hmm. Then you can put all your loot, all your cameras and gear underneath the little room service things, and I can just walk around in plain sight. Mm-hmm. Or I could have a live chat going on some kind of room service tray. Bring that right into the room, set it down in front of Wayne LaPierre, be live with Wayne LaPierre, right on my webcam. That'll get me some.
That works, yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, I'm gonna try to do something because why not? But I'm not anticipating too many people. Honestly, I don't know. Of the 30 people, how many you think? You got a pretty good idea. I don't have it open in front of me here, but the 30 people that are announced as speakers. Just generally, how many people you think are really going to show up and chat in the side chat? I'm guessing. I mean, if we're super ass lucky, 20. But I'm guessing more like 10.
God no! I copied the list down earlier because, like I said, I'm getting some material together to put a little video out. And out of the 34, I would say you're talking about show up outside of their section of the chat.
Yeah, like if Ozzy was the speaker right now, he'd be out here like saying cool and shit or whatever. Like I think a couple of them can totally handle it, and a couple of them will do it. But that's dwindling. From the 30, only so many can do it, and of that, only so many will do it.
I'm gonna say easily less than 10.
Okay, maybe 10 would want to do it, and then we got to deal for like internet connection issues and like, oh, I forgot it was this Saturday kind of shit. Like I was gonna do it, but I forgot it was this Saturday.
Right.
But yeah, I don't think it's
because you got to figure Big Tony probably will. You got to figure that Orlando and Joanna will, possibly Crump.
No, Crump says he's got a thing Cub Scouts, so he's not even going to be there. Period. He already said he's going to be there.
Yeah, I haven't. Yeah, I hadn't talked to him.
Oh, he was on my chat earlier. I was asking him if he knew when it started, because that's one of the complaints is people are like, they say go to the website, and the website doesn't have nothing. It's got that green button, which, just tells you, it just collects your email.
Well,
But
they don't email you, because I thought, well, if once I register, maybe it'll email you what time, and it didn't.
You would think a confirmation email. That's just the normal opt-in type of situation. But Crump came on at that point. He must have been listening and said they haven't sent anything yet. So I guess he had contacted them. And the way like I said, oh, well, then do you know what time it starts? And he said, I do, but ... So I got the impression that, he knows, but it's not knowledge yet, I guess.
Supposed to tell, yeah.
So I don't know what their strategy is. But it's being run, again, by people. Sounds like Pincus and Cheryl Todd, at least, and whoever else. So they're familiar enough to, if they've got a strategy, they know what they're doing. Like I'm not 100%, 1,000% confident that it's going to be awesome, but I'm definitely confident that they are able to do awesome. It'll surprise me if it's awesome, but I know they have it in them. I just don't think they have the practice is all. But yeah,
well, I know a lot of the promotional stuff that I've seen through Instagram. Some pretty good videos and stuff. You know what I mean? That's been put together.
See, I disagree. Well, let's go look. Everything that I've seen so far has been little stuff that you wiggle your finger and create. And I guess, that it depends on what you consider good or not. Like if it takes
it's way flashier is what I mean than just a picture or just somebody.
Yeah. No. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, so when I look at this, I go, oh, this is literally, if you get a GoPro, there's free software. You can download the free software even if you don't have a GoPro, and it does this. You just tell it to look at a bunch of pictures and you scroll through a bunch of different transition little effects. So this is basically off the box, like, oh, I bought transition software and this is option B or whatever. So to me, this is like the littlest effort you could do. This is literally going and getting the free software, pointing it at some files. There's no speech. There's nothing in here. It's super loud. It's like, what the fuck? Like if you had this on your phone and you were somewhere where you're not supposed to be on your phone. So and then it's so slow and repetitive. I'm not a fan of this. I understand what you're saying. It's better than the nothing that's existed in the past, but I am not a fan of let's do very little. Like this here was somebody sat down with video software. This dude made a video. Somebody else sat down and edited all this crap into it. Might have been wiggling with your finger, but you know what I'm saying? Like they didn't use every setting they didn't just set it to like use all or whatever.
That's true.
Even this one is the same thing. And the other problem is super loud.
Yeah.
Right. And it's super loud, like 1990s PowerPoint shit. Right. Like this isn't a monster truck rally.
Yeah.
It's a bunch of chicks, really. I mean, 43% of gun owners are chicks. So you've got 5 million new gun owners, 2.5 million chicks. Don't think they're digging this. Like they're not feeling the testosterone in that. But I tried to share this because it was the only thing. And, me. And like, at least they didn't destroy a flag. They just took all the elements out of a flag and wiggle it around. So I was like, all right, I'm going to try to share this. I literally sat there for like 20 minutes trying to share this. My computer's share thing or whatever for Instagram, like couldn't download this giant file. So that's my other problem is that this is the same thing. They just went to some software. You pointed at a folder and it takes all the pictures in that folder. This time they typed in some words. So that's when these little things show up on the screen. Yeah. They typed in some words, but this is just, again, like free app for your phone type of stuff.
I shared it with no problem, so it's weird.
Well, no, that's just a thing with either my phone, or I have AT&T, so I don't think it's my thing, but it's something about probably my old ass what's it called, repost shit, because I'm using a really old repost thing. But anyway, that's my whatever. That's just whatever. That's a personal preference crap. Somebody probably doesn't like my picture of a thing on a toolbox, right? Like everybody's got their own preferences or what. But otherwise, yeah, I mean, they've definitely done more this year than in past years. Problem is that nothing really says when on the 24th. I don't know what the deal was with that, but it must have affected somebody because, like I say, I did the thing earlier today, went live for a little while, a couple hours, and that's one of the comments was like, when is this damn thing? And I guess last year, this was one of the people we know who chats quite a bit, was because I was encouraging people to be part of the conversation like I do all the time. And they were saying that last year when they were trying to promote it locally, that they basically were given like the indifferent whatever from the organization. And again, I'm not going to try to, I don't have any ambition to try to speak for them, but I suspect they just either didn't care or weren't organized enough to be like motivated to be really into it. I think they set their point of view last year was, we're making this thing, now you go do what you're going to do with it, but we're not giving you like a set of instructions. We're not here to provide the PowerPoints that you pass out. So I don't know exactly what was asked for and what was not received, but like I said, those are valid. If the person who had an interaction with the rally group last year had an interaction, I'm not going to tell them they didn't have that interaction. Obviously they had that interaction, but I guess that they don't make it clear, but it is a different group this year, technically. So although many people are also involved, it isn't the same thing. It was supposed to be just a 1-year thing, and this year it's a different thing. It's like the evolution of the rally, not really like the same rally.
Right.
They don't say that anywhere. And why would they? That's like total stupid detail that really doesn't matter for probably most of the people, right? So that's something else that we just have to get used to when we have access and awareness of so much level of detail. We just have to get used to where we pursue that, I guess, or where we're comfortable letting that hang or something, I guess. And I'm not perfect at that either. Let's see, what's this say? I haven't seen anything on the rally. The only reason I know of it is because of this. I didn't even know it was virtual until Marco. Oh, really? Yeah, so that's the thing. They depend on us promoting it, and that's frustrating. If it was an entity that was trying to make money, then whatever strategy they did, they'd be evaluating it. So like last year, whatever they did, they'd have gone, this is what we did right or wrong. Let's amplify or change, right? And then this year they'd be doing the same thing. There's an absence of that, and we as a community who ask for grassroots, like we don't want partisan, we don't want stuff that's multi-affiliated, we don't want stuff that's all sponsored. Well, when we're given that, how do we deal with it? Like, how do we, if we sit around all bickering about like, well, it's not clear to me who's sponsoring it. Well, it's not sponsored. Like, it's not clear to me who this represents, because it represents all of us. Like, at what point do we take something, a gift horse, I guess, and do something with the gift instead of complaining about it ain't the perfect gift, I guess. But at the same time, I'm the first one to complain every time somebody tries to shove some horse pill down my throat that I don't feel like eating. So I'm not saying I'm perfect or nothing. I'm just saying this is yet another opportunity for us as a community to deal with something that's less than comfortable. But honestly, it couldn't be under more ideal conditions. There's almost nothing to lose. There's no negative consequences other than wasting everybody's time, I guess, who is involved. But that can't happen because whatever the results, we're all going to learn something, right? We're going to know, if nothing else, what not to do.
Right.
But or what didn't work. But really, it's just a matter of us all kind of getting over here's the directions, here's the step by step, and getting used to all participating in the lack of rules, which we do constantly. We do this on the road every time we drive. We do it like every time we go into a bathroom. There's nobody going into the bathroom and like stealing all the toilet paper and soap just because they technically can. Like, we all walk into the bathroom and use what we need and leave.
Right.
Even though we could all go into the business of reselling soap. If we really, really wanted to, we could all walk around with gallon baggies and buy soap and then buy get old bottles out of the trash and refill them and literally make a living doing that. I mean, you're welcome. I just given you a new career path, perhaps. You could literally do that, right? You could do that with ketchup. You could do that with napkins. Like, you could literally just grab things that are given away, repackage them, and resell them to the people that are giving them away. But nobody does, and that's why we just got to get used to that concept, right? That we can do things, we can use things together, I guess, or utilize things in ways that don't necessarily make us married. If I use the soap thing and some crazy terrorist used the soap thing, I really don't think it makes us tied together in any other way than we both use the soap thing, because we both did each other, right?
Yeah, true.
Let's see. I've seen several channels promoting it. Still haven't seen a time. Yeah, there is no time. I think we talked about that. But I don't know. If that's one of them things that they didn't even think about, I can't tell you how many things I've done over the years where I thought, hey, here's a thing to do. And then I've done it, in my way or whatever. And then I find out like, oh, I didn't put the time out there. And it turns out everybody wanted to know the time. Like that was the third thing that came to mind.
Well, the way John answered you, I'm sure apparently there's some kind of reasoning on it, I guess.
That's what I'm saying. Maybe we'll figure it out. I don't know what it might be, but I don't know. Maybe they're still trying to figure out, who knows, like when they're going to host it. It'll be better than, did you try to watch the AZCDL one at all?
No.
That one was like last Saturday or 2 Saturdays ago. Mm-hmm. And it couldn't have been this Saturday. It had to be 2 Saturdays ago. So it was, it was attempting to be like GRPC. They premiered a bunch of stuff. They recorded it, but it wasn't like a quilt work of a bunch. They just recorded like basically a Gun Freedom Radio, like an hour and a half, and then a session with like the main guy and another session, and they just sort of they didn't sew them together. They just had these 4 videos. One of them was like 5 minutes long. One of them was an hour and a half long. Another one was like 10 minutes long. And then they posted them as premieres. So I expected them to, because they had a chat as they're, when a premiere is not yet ready, it'll have a chat sitting there and you can chat on it. And I even typed in, thank you for doing this online. Looking forward to the event or something like that. And then let's say they were scheduled for 2 p.m., 3 p.m., and then the other one was scheduled for 3 p.m. So right off the bat, well, that's interesting. Like 2 of them are literally scheduled to start at the same time.
Right.
And then as soon as it got to like whatever the first one was supposed to be, let's say noon or 2 p.m. or whatever, right at 2 p.m., the premiere part flips off and it starts playing about 3 minutes into the video. So I don't know. I think that must be what happens when you flip off premiere at the last second. It just plays it as if you had posted post live or something whenever you made that switch, because all of a sudden it's just playing and there's no live chat. So I'm like, oh, all right. And you can't comment because they've turned off comments from the video. So this live event that they've asked everybody, literally sent out an email the night before to let people know that it's happening. All there is a view count. There's nothing. So then I texted somebody at AZCDL and I got no reply, in case it was just they didn't realize. But no reply. Nobody was live or nothing to hear the text. And then the next 2, which were supposed to start at the same time, did the same thing. I was watching the premiere will start in so many moments, right before it flips that horrible like siren noise or whatever it does. Right. But instead of flipping, it flips to already live 3 or 4 minutes into like a 5-minute video, just mid-sentence. And then I flipped over to the second one, same thing. So like they literally did something weird or just complete inexperience with doing anything live on YouTube. Now, maybe Facebook went out flawless. I really don't know. How would I know? So hopefully it'll be better than that, because as far as I know, they've completely not done anything to follow up. At least they've never addressed my concerns or, letting them know that it all kind of just happened. It all flopped. So they're not even paying attention after the fact to find out what happened. So that was AZCDL, just a state level group, which I wish I could say better stuff. I mean, I like their results and I like the individuals, but I do not like the way they have no teamwork at all. They do not work with each other. They just all work, and luckily they're all working in the same direction. And I suspect a lot of them are like that. You've been, I'm sure, around, if anybody's been around the block enough doing any kind of work for other organizations, you walk up as a non-member to most organizations, and I guess there must be exceptions. At least I haven't found any exceptions to this, but most of the time it's like a chaotic mess. And you're like, wow, from a third party, I don't know how you do any of this.
Right.
Technically, this seems like it shouldn't even work. But sure enough, you're kicking out good product or you get good results. Like nobody's complaining, like to keep making your butter this way, but don't ever open the door and show people how you're making the butter, because you're certainly not a something that anyone else is going to want to build off of.
Yeah.
But anyway, we're talking a little bit behind the scenes because it's Clover in here. And I got no interest in fluffing people up. We're never going to get better. And I'm sick of the cycles. This cycle here, you could do the same thing with like every time we have a anti-gun measure, like, 1994 assault weapons ban, we have ultimate reaction to that. And we got to calm and we create decades worth of gun owners that are not familiar with any kind of resistance or fight. And the first time it comes up, we did a pretty good job. And then subsequent battles, we kind of got dull to it. And now when it happens, we get offended and outraged and we fight with each other instead of uniting and fighting an enemy efficiently. So that part's getting frustrating. So I refuse to just sit here and smile every time somebody makes an attempt at this point, because we'll just sit here smiling while people make attempts to our death. We'll smile as we get led to the grave. Go ahead.
Well, that's one of the reasons I didn't. I don't think we've talked since I told you about that rifle that I bought. But one of the reasons that
you're talking about 22.
Yeah. And one of the reasons I bought it is because it was kind of a victim of that company, and that rifle was a victim of Gun Control Act of 1968. We kind of talked about that, the reasoning behind it. But I thought, I'm gonna buy that. First of all, it's 22, and I don't have it, and this, that, and the other, and it has some significance, right, to the history and all. I'm like, that would make a really good freaking video to be able to show this, talk about this tangible item and this company, in Massachusetts that started up with hopes and dreams and whatever, and then here comes gun control and crushes them all,
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it'd be good for ratings. Maybe it would. It hasn't historically been good for ratings to focus on that, but I think it's ultimately interesting.
No, it's not. I don't foresee the video doing that well, probably, but it's something I want to do, and I want to be able to get that perspective out there. You know what I mean? And it's a great example.
Yeah, and I don't think there's anything wrong with dropping, what's the word, like concept bombs, maybe, like dropping that on people, because if it's the opening of perception, right? Like, oh crap, if that's affecting that company that way, then what's happening with an ammo company over here or whatever?
Mm-hmm. What's happening nowadays when they do this or do that? Yeah, exactly right. An interesting side note on that. So I buy it, and it looked okay, right? When I bought it, I mean, it's a fallen block action, so real simple action and all. Opened it up, looked at it, didn't see a problem. Got home, was all excited, dropped a 22 round in it, cocked the hammer, pulled the trigger, and it went click. I thought, what the crap? Opened it back up, and the 22 was literally all the way up in the chamber. Somebody had hand reamed with like a drill the chamber on this thing to make it fit 22 Magnum.
Oh, really? I was going to say,
and in
like
the process,
22 or something.
And in the process, they had boogered the extractor, and because they did that, the extractor being under the case head is what allows it to be in a position where the firing pin will make it go off. So not even a 22 Magnum would fire, because I tried that. So yeah, they screwed the chamber all up, man. But the reason I said I'm picking it up tomorrow, I've got a machinist buddy, and greatest gunsmith in the world, man, or machinist, I'm gonna tell you right now. And I called him up. I'm like, can we sleeve the barrel? What can we do? I mean, I want this to be that particular model. I could buy a barrel online from that's come like a Savage or comes from like a Revelation or something like that. But I want the original stamping and all on the barrel. That's the significance of this thing. And he's like, bring it up here and let me look at it. So anyway, he rebuilt the chamber on it, basically. Drilled it out, you know what I mean, and plugged it and basically rebuilt the chamber. So
into 22 Magnum, though?
No, back to 22 long rifle.
So what, you put a sleeve in there, you're saying?
Yeah, he sleeved it, matched the lands and grooves. The way that I don't know. He's an awesome.
Well, you must have to drill like a way bigger. This, like if you had, this is 22 long rifle, and then somebody comes in and bores it to be 22 Magnum bad, I would think you'd have to do something like this,
right?
Bore out everything, and then out of there bore out a new 22, right?
Mm-hmm. Right. And then you also have to, because that's an insert. He used a rifle insert. He's done a lot of those where he's taken old 22 rifles, all kinds of calibers, and put a sleeve in them, right? So he had about 8 inches, I guess, 6 or 8 inches of 22 sleeve. So what he did is he
Oh,
chamfered.
of
He,
this, this is like custom made. You buy this in a big length and just use as much of it as you need.
basically, it's rifled, right?
Okay.
So it's already rifled. So the rifle twist matched. So all he had to do was, and he's a machinist. He thinks in thousandths of an inch and all that kind of crap, right? And he's good. So somehow he chamfered when he put the insert in. He was able to chamfer part of it because it was 22 Magnum. It's longer than a 22 long rifle, right? So you couldn't just put one in. If you put one in and then chambered at 22, there would be a jump to the lands and grooves. You feel what I'm saying? Because 22 long rifle's shorter. So
Right.
he actually took that and somehow he chamfered one and beveled the other and made it match up where the twist in the rifling and all is, it matches up inside there.
Now that you're saying that, I guess you could take a barrel, a chunk of barrel that has the same kind of twist, and then, like on a lathe, get rid of most of the barrel, so you're left with just the, the lands and grooves and a little bit of meat, and then take the outside diameter, that drill that hole, and hopefully that's bigger than 22 Magnum, and then then you're basically taking an old piece of barrel that might have been bent or bulged or who knows what somewhere else.
Absolutely, yeah.
Oh, that's super smart. Yeah, that's neat. Did you try to do some sort of thing on that, like, I don't know, video or whatever?
I didn't on like the building or something like that. I mean, I may talk about it on video or something like that, but
I think it was Artie and Tony one time went and got something. Oh, he was making that wood AR, I think, and then something he did and he couldn't do, and he went to some guy, and then he ended up taking some video, like you would say, like B footage or whatever, just general video while he was there, and then I think he did some sort of like interview with the guy, and then just played that video so that there'd be something to look at while you're listening to him. But then they just chatted. I can't remember now. It was a long time ago, or maybe he just sort of pondered on all that. But that was semi-interesting, and at least I don't see people ever talking about the industry from that angle.
Right.
But on the other hand, some gunsmiths are like, they'd be like, hey, I really like the way you cut lawn. Do you mind if I just follow you along with a recorder and we can talk while you're cutting the lawn? Like some people be like, how about you leave me alone? You asked me to do that, not like your spokesmodel.
Yeah. Well, with me, this guy's great. And I got a couple of videos on the channel where I've got some B-roll of him working on a few things or whatever for me. But it's more like, to me, it's more like with this particular issue, it's more like you're following a surgeon and you've got like a routine appendectomy that he does 10 times a day, every day of the week, right? That's fine. But this is like microscopic brain surgery type thing. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, this was such a specialized, intricate thing he had to do. I really didn't want to be bugging him while he did it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And then like, hey, we haven't done this before, but what's the most difficult thing you do?
Right.
Or one of the more difficult things? Let's start with that.
Yeah. But yeah, if it was threading a barrel or threading an action or doing something like that, yeah, it wouldn't be a problem.
So I'm trying to remember from memory. So the Calico Drum will come on like this, and it's either 9 or 22, and it's helical. So it's sort of a big, I don't know, it's kind of like a thin coffee thermos maybe. And then it's got a front sight. I think the front sight is somewhere up in here, and that's attached to the gun. That's like some goofy Zamek. The gun is like aluminum or Zamek or something. It's not super high quality metal or nothing. The mag is helical, so the ammo in here is doing one of these things, and it holds 100 rounds. And then the back of the magazine has the rear sight, which is annoying and weird. So if you don't have a magazine in it, you're definitely not shooting it, and because you can't shoot it anyway. But it's definitely, the magazine being on the gun is integral to it, and it's basically a 10-22. So the way that it comes out is kind of down here. It's not exactly like a P90, but how a P90 goes from, it does a 90. That's why they call it a P90, because it does a 90 degrees. But it goes from helical to basically the same thing. It does this little shifty thing, and then it enters right at the last second. It comes out in line with the barrel. I just can't remember for the life of me. It does something like this, and then something like this, and somewhere in here, the stock folds up and comes down, and then it would like pivot underneath it here to come back. And then, damn, I think the grip is like here somewhere. But this is all just from memory. So that's something like what the, and then it basically feeds in. So the barrel's only like this long. This is the chamber right here. And then somewhere up here, just like a P90, there's like this anus, and all the brass comes flying out the straight down in front of you, sort of between your hands. If you got one hand here and one hand up here, your brass is coming down at your feet.
Right.
Kind of neat. I really like them. I only looked at them from afar for the longest time, but when I was hanging out at the gun shop, somebody brought in a pair of 22s and a 9.
Wow.
And they had not been shooting them, but they shot them enough that they ruined the mags. The mags will wear out. They're magazines after all. Yeah. Magazines are perishable. Magazines are disposable. So just like anything, it's a disposable item, perishable item. It's designed to wear out. And they had, but you can get rebuild kits. So the guy had used it enough to wear out the mags, all 3, but then done rebuild kits. So the mags were, I don't know, they seemed great for me. I took them out, and I was just at the end of doing videos, so it must have been like 15 maybe. And so Bob let me take them out and take them out and shoot them, basically, because they like to test fire stuff, especially something like that where do the mags really work? Right. Well, you put 5 rounds in a 100-round helical magazine. Is that testing the mag? Not really. So you got to load it with 100 rounds. And then what the hell? Now you're loading it with 100 rounds and shooting it because you're not really testing it. You just load it and unload it. By the way, it's almost impossible to unload one of these without shooting. It's just not meant to be unloaded. You might be able to take it apart and unload it, but you aren't going to just feed them out that lip. It's horrible. It's like it'd be like unloading a 25-round BX mag from Ruger.
Right.
Rip your fingers apart. So yeah, basically the only way to tell if the mags, and all 3 mags were potentially rebuilt. So we had to shoot 300 rounds out of it. So normally, somebody would be like, go to the range and shoot 300 rounds out of it, but nobody wanted to, and I did. So
wow.
Yeah, what the hell, right? I'm taking videos and stuff. So
right.
Actually, what the hell? We're sitting here on screen share. Let's go grab it. All my videos are back up. So basically, I had a good time shooting it, but they were rebuilt mags. So I think that could probably play a big role. If you had one that was worn out, I'm sure it would be a completely different experience, right?
Right.
So this is, I guess, the 9mm version.
Balls, use the Manscaped.
I always thumb them down. And you always want to click skip, because otherwise it'll feed you a whole bunch of more, I think.
Uh-huh.
Oh yeah, 2015. Look, I know my 3,000 videos like the back of my hand.
Right.
So this is the cop car, the day I took out a bunch of these 22s. So I got a different taste in 22s than you. I like giant scopes and tiny guns.
All right.
So this one is my skeleton gun, or what do they call these? It's a bicycle gun, but I forget what they call them. It's a Bronco. It's a Garcia Bronco, I think. Oh. But do you have any of these? The wire?
No, I don't think so.
We get a lot of 22s out here. You probably couldn't handle living in Southwest because I don't know why, but we have a ton of little old 22s. So
be broke all the
time. Yeah, exactly. You'd constantly be buying them. You'd have a huge collection. You'd love that part of it, but you'd be in agony and your wife would hate you and you'd have trouble work and stuff. You'd constantly be buying them. There's tons of them. Right. So I never can buy good ones, but this one's basically broken. It's all goofy, but it exists. So anyway, I own that one, or did. And then this is the 9. And then this is a Marlin Papoose. Is that what they call these? Sort of their version of a Ruger takedown.
Yeah, the Marlin takedown, yeah.
But it was waterproof. Or no, it was the Marlin version of a AR-7, because this is older than 1022 takedowns. And
yeah,
I don't happen to DJ there. And then the problem is, instead of being like an AR-7 where it floats because it's a hollow piece of garbage, this is waterproof, the bag is waterproof, and that's how it floats. Right. So it's like, I dropped my gun. Is it waterproof? Well, yeah, the bag is. Well, thing you should have dropped. You put it in your bag before you dropped it.
Right.
Kind of weird, but Marlon's always trying to be next to somebody else. That's my opinion of Marlon's. Anyway, that wasn't my gun. I was. Woods is in here, and look at this. We got a real chat happening now. It took an hour. Let's see. So then we had 222 pistols. That was a carbine, by the way. That 9mm is a carbine because it's got a stock and everything. And then you got 222 Calicos. This was a pretty nice picture to get. The Tech 22, the Zip 22, and then a mess of NAAs. This might not have a couple dozen NAAs around. And then down at the bottom there is my little Minx 22 short.
Right. Oh, survey.
When it comes to trimming your balls, use the Manscaped.
Oh, don't want to
Lawnmower
click on it. Just
3.0.
wanna...
So if you guys aren't familiar with Manscaped,
All right. In 2015, I kind of gave a shit, so you don't really get much sound. But this is me loading the 9, and the 22 is exactly the same. It's just that you can almost kind of see it a little better with this one. We'll make it way bigger for you, and then I'll fast forward because this is boring as shit. But you get the idea. You have this goofy little. Oh, the 22 doesn't have that little crank. It doesn't get as hard to load or what. But you get the idea. You sort of, what trying to say? You crank that thing to pull the spring back, and then you load a couple of rounds. And then you crank that thing to pull the spring back because that spring is constantly fighting you, and there's no way you can push 100-round spring. So you have to kind of keep holding the spring back. And then once you get it loaded, you let the spring go, and it pushes 100 rounds forward with like nobody's business. So now we'll load the thing. And you can see it's like a 1022, except upside, sort of sideways, I guess.
Right.
So this is the ejection port. This is the charging handle. There's your trigger, your selector, nothing, just a handguard. And then this one's a carbine, so it has a really long barrel. Goofy trigger that, I don't know, I hate curved triggers. That curved, at least.
Right.
Super heavy. That's 100 rounds of 9mm in a circle. So it's like this whole thing weighs. Normally you hold 100 rounds of 9mm in your hand, so it feels dense. This distributes the weight all the way down like a cylinder. So it's just a heavy cylinder. It's like having a lead pipe on the back of your gun.
Right.
Well, there's the front sight integrated in the front latch, I guess. There's me showing it going forward there. And this, obviously, you couldn't do none of this at normal range because you'd be muzzling everybody in every direction. That's the rear sight on the back of the thing. Oh, look how well it's cycled. Now, they didn't give me brilliant ammo to go to the range with either, or to go shoot 100 rounds,
All right.
This is full volume, too. What a shitty production value. This is 9mm. What do you expect out of a garbage caliber? You're going to get garbage results. So I forget what the deal was. This was, I guess, 5 years ago. But something happened, and I was awesome. Gunsmith skills fixed it. And then what you do to film like this is hold the camera in your teeth. Or if it's a phone, just open your mouth really wide and hold the phone right in your teeth. And then hold it up like this. Oh, come on, 9mm. All right. And now what you do is you stick your one foot out and have another camera from a second direction if you're legit. A lot of your lazy filmers will only have one camera going. I like to always have two cameras going.
All right.
No, I was putting a lot of effort into this one. I don't know how the hell. I was probably just got my GoPro probably. This is how 9mm shoot. I'm basically attempting to shoot in the same way the 9mm person shoots. It's like when a left-handed person tries to write right-handed or vice versa.
All right.
You can only emulate it. So I'm attempting to shoot in the style of a 9mm shooter.
It's a little warm.
Well, what happened is they had just cleaned the crap out of it. So I'm just cooking the oil off of the barrel. So it looks a lot worse than it is. But let's go look at the comments. How many people you think how many people in the comments think that I burned the handguards off that don't understand what cooking the oil off is?
Oh, a bunch probably.
That's maybe 50 rounds. I mean, I've been going click, 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 click. So this isn't 100 rounds or anything yet. I definitely didn't rip them through there. I've never seen a Mac 10 barrel cook like this. You know that you don't cook a barrel. What you can do is cook the oil off of it.
It's not hot up here. The smoke's probably coming off of oil. This thing's all oiled up.
But that was because the dude who cleaned it, like, just oiled the shit out of it. Maybe he knew I was going out there to film video. He might have, actually.
Right.
But basically, that was the goal, was to go out there and shoot 100 rounds through each of the mags. So then I made a video of loading the mags and then just dinking around with them as well. 9mm. People are like, you just hate 9mm because you got no experience with it. It's like I got over 100 rounds of experience with 9mm.
Right.
So that's that one. And then there's a shooting the pistols. Maybe I only put the pistols on Instagram, or else it's in the middle of this one. I think I would definitely get a pistol, though. I don't think I'd waste my time with the, what do you call it, the carbines.
Right.
And the 22s are a little smaller diameter because it's smaller bullet, but way easier spring to deal with. And like I say, it might be fake, and I don't know how fast the mags wear out, but there you go.
Look at you dual wielding.
200 rounds. 200 rounds of 22 is like 444 rounds, technically.
Sounds like you're using a staple gun.
What would these things be like with cans on them? It would work, right? It wouldn't be that much longer. Or put like a little integral barrel. That'd be neat. You could put an integral barrel on this, and it would be it would just be as big as the magazines, you know?
Right.
How many rounds do you get before you have to recharge it?
Well, it's just a gun. Just depends on if it's fed or not. I'm using normal ammo, I think. So every once in a while, one of the 22s is just hiccuping. But it's not like the magazines need it. If everything was according to perfect, it would just shoot normal. But
and those 22 mags, those just have a kind of a dial turn mechanism instead of the crank handle on them. Then.
Yeah, there's just no tension, or the tension isn't anywhere near as strong. So you just don't need the little fulcrum or the.
Stuff that's super fun to do, super fun to share with everyone. If you're interested in something like this, you pick one up, your range, and your friends
Recreational use. So then here's me loading it, which was, I don't know, annoying as hell, I guess. It takes forever. I guess this would be the kind of thing where if you're going out for a day of shooting, like you give it to a kid that isn't old enough to just shoot on their own yet. You know, that'd probably be a challenge and something for them to do. They'd probably dig it.
Wow.
And then you push that button in the middle and it releases the tension. It's not a great video, but it's a little more tedious with the 22, but because you're not fighting it ever. You can release the tension, basically just feed them in there, drop them, drop them, drop them, release the tension, drop them, drop them. So think of them, this is like a mag without a follower. So as soon as you release the tension, they start to fall down the helical part. So there's probably like 6, let's say 4 to 6, space for 4 to 6. You just drop them in there. And then you release it again, you drop them in there. It takes a little while, it takes you, I guess, however many iterations to do it for 100, but no effort. So you could totally just be sitting around bullshitting or smoking a cigarette or something and loading these things. And then, unless you're shooting full auto, you saw, it's kind of, I was going to say during that shooting part, like it gets kind of boring, it's a long time shooting 200, wherever the hell I was shooting them.
Right.
So yeah, this would be like the most fun for like a dueling tree, having a pair of these and a dueling tree for 2 people. Or if you're really good, I guess just each of your hands, right? But No, I think these would be, I don't know. I think these could be a whole nother level of fun once recreational shooting becomes a thing. Oh, wait, is this one missing its sight? This one definitely has a sight on it. This one doesn't look like it's got a sight on it. Is that just me?
Nope.
Oh, no, there's no sight on that one. So it looks like the sight just fits on this goofy non-proprietary rail thing. And I didn't lose it. It fell off. It wasn't there when I got here. Let's go back and make sure. Oh, yeah, see? It wasn't there. I didn't do it. This ain't me. But yeah, that one has one and that one don't. So this one was designed to use a laser. Man, that thing with a laser and a dueling tree, that might be neat.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I don't know how we got on that. Oh, I guess because Wielding Well Armed was saying something about wanting to afford one. I don't know what they cost anymore now. The thing is, those sat at the shop for a while. And I don't think it was because of the price he had them at. I think it's because there's just not that much demand. They're kind of unique, you know. It's like a stand-up canoe. Like you could give it away. It's just not that many people want to stand up and paddle around. You know?
Right.
On
Gee.
Gunbroker, they were closing out for about, depending on condition, between 400 and 600 before Ian McCollum did his first video on him. I think he's done 2 follow-up videos after working on the mags, and they shot up well over $1,000, and they've kind of dropped down right in between. Most of the examples coming with at least a 50 and a 100 round. I don't know how they came from the factory, and the 100 round 22 cylinders are going for they're starting out about $100 and they're finishing between 100 and 200. The 50s I'm not sure about right now though.
Now if you're saying, don't I own 2 of them? Nah, if you've seen something that works or that's good in one of my videos, then I just was making a video of somebody else's gun. If it's a broken gun or one of my pieces of crap like junk guns, those are mine, because you know most of those I buy or I bought back in the day, but I don't own those Calicos. How pissed do you think people are going to be once they figure out that somebody can go out and buy, let's say, a relatively unknown, unique gun that's possible to go out and collect, you know, harvest them all off of something like a gun broker for a period of time, especially if you have the resources to do it. Let's say you harvest some particular pistol or carbine or whatever that, you know, again, is unique in some way. And then you know that by going on and saying something about it, you can adjust demand to go from 0 to a high demand, and then start making a fortune selling them.
Right. Well, they're still a company. They still make them though, right? Calicos.
Yeah, no, yeah, they still make them. They moved from California to Oregon or something. Forget.
I want to say not that long ago I had looked it up, and like the 22 pistols, like I don't know, $650 or something, brand new.
I was gonna say they're not cheap. They're not giving them away, but they're there's not that much demand. People don't like. They think they're kind of neat. It's like a go-kart. Like, oh, that's neat. You want one? No.
Right. Right.
So Calico.
Yeah, a lot of times forgotten weapons seems to be responsible for piqued interest in stuff and driving the market that direction.
It's
I don't know if they stop making them. That's possible when these companies. I don't know what the deal is when it moved from California, which it had been in all the time. It was always in California until sometime it moved to Oregon. When it moved to Oregon, did like the founder and the manufacturer and the machines and the name and the everything moved to Oregon, like sometimes happens, or was the company sold, let go, or sometimes just sold, but sometimes, what am I trying to say, like a bankruptcy thing where it gets sold kind of thing, or sold unwillingly. But sometimes the name and the products will get sold, and then often the name along with like all the unbuilt guns. So something like a plastic gun where it costs X amount of dollars to make 100, and it costs something less per piece to make 1,000, and even less per piece to make 10,000. A lot of times when these when these companies are over, they've got mag wells, or they've got some part that they bought, strategically, by the 10,000s, and They just only made 1,000 guns. So now they got 9,000 of these parts left over. So sometimes, these gun companies get sold. Another company comes in and builds maybe a different way of doing something, or they're literally just taking those parts that they bought and, taking the designs for the receiver and starting again and just using parts that, literally the same gun just being assembled. So I don't know what the story is. Maybe these were actually guns in inventory. I don't know how this company worked, but if they made 100,000 of each gun and only sold 10,000 of each, they might have sold 90,000 guns to the next iteration. I really have no idea, but they're not getting away. $900 for the carbine. This is a short barrel rifle. This is a rifle. Do they even make the pistol? So there's a 9mm pistol is $900. The other pistol is $800. There's no, I was gonna say there's no 22s, but that's because they're down here. So you got SBRs, and that's the other thing. They've always built SBRs and I think transferables or non-transferables maybe, because there's definitely full auto Calicos. And I think I might even remember that they were designed to be full auto.
Mhm.
And then they just made them semi-auto because nobody was buying the full auto ones. But a pistol 22 is $650. You can get it in different colors. They make conversions for Macs. That's super interesting. So you can have, I could get a conversion for this and put it on a 9 Mac lower, and that would be full auto. And that would be a 90, no, it would be 100 round. No, that looks like a 50 because it's short. But that potentially means you could put a Calico mag on your Mac. So if you had a transferable Mac, which for a long time had been one of the least expensive ways to get into NFA. I didn't even know they made an upper. That's kind of neat. And then they make this Gatling gun. I didn't know that they make their own looking. I thought this was something else. So they make a Gatling gun. Oh yeah, this looks like the thing that's two 1022s put together. 22-2. So that was made by a different company. So I wonder if they bought that company. Does anybody know what I'm talking about? The 22 that has this hand crank and it's two 1022s put head to head. So this is the mag. Yeah, that's the mag of a 1022 though. A Butler Creek clear mag pointed at us.
Right.
There would be one on the other side, I think. It looks like there's two barrels, right? Anyway, that little get up, that all aluminum, and this thing is the giveaway because all the all the tripods look the same. They made this for AK-47s. They made it for Ruger 1022s. And they made it for M1 carbines. I think, what the hell was the name of that company? They were in Nevada, though, I think. And when we made a video a long time ago about that damn 22 thing and called it a Gatling gun, and holy moly, call that thing a Gatling gun on the internet. And,
Let's talk about compromise in the Second Amendment. One of the best ways I ever describe it.
So it's because it's called a Gatling gun, though. It's called it was called Tactical Innovations made it. So Tactical Innovations.
Because it'll start to spin.
No, this was a different one.
Hey, it's early wad here. I'm gonna jump. Y'all have a good evening.
Yeah, take it easy. Thanks for jumping in. I don't know. Maybe just the crank is different on this one. But the base and everything looks similar. Anyway, so I wonder if this company is a combination of them or what.
Where'd they move to in Oregon? Does it say?
Yeah. Elgin? Or is it St. Elgin?
Never heard of it.
I don't know if that's Hemlock Street or if it's St. Elgin. You know what I mean? It says 1090 Hemlock ST period Elgin. I'm guessing it's just Elgin, right? I never heard of a St. Elgin. So it says they blah, 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 beginning in 82, the California Instrument Company. So that's Calico, designed and built specialized instrumentation for the petroleum, armed with a background in tooling. New concept in firearms magazine technology was developed in 85. The first 100-round working helical mag was successfully tested, and entire family of firearms was developed around this revolutionary new design. By 87, the first 50 and 100 round 9mm double helix firearms were being produced. Double helix? These robust systems were hailed internationally as the next generation. 1987. I don't remember that, but it must have happened. Enjoying worldwide success. Calico Light Weapon Systems is now full line Calico accessories, blah, blah, blah. Then blah blah blah. Nothing about Oregon. So
I looked it up. It's in the top right-hand side almost. So it's in eastern Oregon, almost to Idaho.
Oh, you're saying on a map of Oregon, the top right hand. Gotcha.
Yeah.
So eastern Oregon is like eastern Washington.
Yeah, the desert kind of, rolling hills, that kind of thing. Rattlesnakes.
Ranches though, or farming?
Yeah. That area, a lot of farming because they like Hermiston isn't that far from there, and they do a lot of watermelons there, like a lot. But I'm sure there's lots of ranches too.
That's one of the places I have not been. I've been around it, but never through there.
Well, if I've driven through it, I may have stopped and peed in that area, but I definitely didn't stop and look around.
Pink is saying they were 500 to 600 at that show after shot south of the Vegas airport. So now I know which show you're talking about. And I think I almost remember, but I just don't remember looking at them. Is it something that we all looked at? I just don't remember seeing them there. That wouldn't have been a bad price, though, I guess. $500? I don't know. But, all right. So anyway, we got an hour and a half into it, and we got a bunch of people jumping in. So anybody we started out chatting about the, or basically giving away the flag. Pincus won it. It was a spam. So I'll contact him, and if he gives me a response, then we'll find out if it's going to get passed on to Ozzy or if Pincus wants it. He might want it. It's his rally. And like I say, even though I sent him a whole bunch of patches, he still bought a whole bunch, so that was cool. I pointed them out to you. So see, I don't remember. I'm good at spending other people's money. I don't remember spending your money, but I'll do it. I bought that gun before shot.
Those Calicos are pretty neat. I've always liked them. I've never seen one in real life or anything.
After playing with one, I still would not buy one, personally. I would definitely play with one, but I wouldn't buy miniguns anymore. So I'm probably not the best.
Right. But I'm definitely in the position in life where some guns I buy just for shits and giggles.
Oh, yeah. And I probably, in my day, I would have owned one because it is an example of a lot of cool different things. And they don't suck. They do work. And they're a heck of a lot of fun. And like I say, for something like a dueling tree and buying two, depending on my situation, if you had kids or something, I can't imagine. It would be like child abuse to not have a bunch of fun recreational guns for your kids, right? Especially when you could have them and you decided not to. You're like, well, I could have them, but my kids aren't that good. So that would be different. If you could have like a cool dueling tree or a set of dueling trees or some sort of crazy stuff to do with steel or something, reactive targets, then not having to reload mags could be pretty neat. In fact, you could probably do some fun stuff with like 2 magazines and 2 guns, and trying to reload the magazine as fast as somebody's shooting it kind of thing. Or maybe I'm saying you could have fun with 2 magazines and 1 gun, just like that, trying to load before the other person gets done shooting. And then like how good they shoot, because anybody can pull a trigger. But if they can shoot good by the time you load it kind of thing or something, like you could probably have a lot of fun with Calico. 9mm Calico, can anybody have fun with 9mm? It's like an authoritarian, miserable, it's like a mopey caliber. Like you could try to have fun, but it would always ruin it. It would whine about something or complain or fail. It fails a lot. Just when it's needed or when it's depended on. That's not like it.
Yeah, I definitely like the 22 pistol.
Like a 45, I think 45 would be fun. So you could jam it into like a Tommy. I don't know if that would work. Maybe have one that goes up underneath the handguard of a Thompson, then have like a little neck that goes up, like a throat that goes up into the mag well. Like I think it would be neat if that tech kept going, because 45 seems like, I don't know, like a better diameter to roll. It's like easier to push a bunch of 45s around. Maybe, I don't know, they're heavier, I guess. But 22s just seem so little that I don't think they're rolling. I think you're manhandling a bunch of 22s through there. Like the 9mm, that seems like they're rolling, right? Like they're gonna be like a bunch of bearings in there.
Right.
22s just seem like they're going to be ornery and like rim lock each other. It's just 25 ACPs. How cool would it be to have you probably got 200 rounds for 25 ACP in there. I think it'd be awesome if they came up with some kind of little center fire bullet that's tiny, like a little center fire 22. Became popular for recreational shooting, for making noises and for hitting things. Yep. See that? Do it out of reflex. OG gun channels trick, waste other people. It's not wasting their money. It's investing their money for them in ways that they haven't thought of yet. It's for their own best interest. Not necessarily willing, but for their own best interest.
In the time I've known you, at least a dozen people have said that where you were nice enough to spend their money for.
Yeah. I want people to have you're going to have your money sit in a savings account.
Be responsible for it and like pay bills and stuff. Come on.
Yeah. No, I don't pay bills. I'm doing just fine. Those are for suckers. If you quit paying your phone bill, they quit calling you. It's easy. Actually, I thought I paid a phone bill today. I hate this. I don't know about you, but like I always never pay my phone bill. So then they'll say, well, text me. And then they'll go like, you owe us 3 months worth of phone bills or whatever. And then you can basically wait until you have enough money and then go like 1, and then it'll pay the bill. Like you don't have to do anything. You just wait for them to yell at you and you just go 1 and it pays the bill. So I did that. They've been yelling at me for a while now. And people bought stuff from the store. So I'm like, all right, I guess I'll pay my bill. And then so they yelled at me like yesterday or something. And then and you have this? You ever get that where they text you for the bill? It's probably only when you're a scofflaw. So then I waited like a day and then hit 1. So now I don't know. Normally it then charges you and it's over. Like they take their money and they leave you alone for another while. But it didn't take my money. So I don't know if I need to go in and initiate it normally and then it's going to charge me twice. I'm in a weird nowhere zone where I got to wait a little while before I see if it actually did not work before I go pay the bill. But anyway, phone bills suck. Anyway, any other
little 22 in that video you had?
What's that?
That little I don't remember what it's called. It's that little 22 that had the like rounded magazine that like was almost a little teeny tiny pistol.
Holy crap. I have no idea what you're talking about there. So in a video there, I just had everything on the hood?
Yeah. Go back to that. I don't know what it was called.
I think that was
My husband.
Imagine losing everything.
Imagine losing
Even though
everything.
you did nothing wrong.
You did nothing. This
Unfortunately,
happens
this
every
scenario
single day.
is all too common.
Happens every single day.
Here's all the things. Buy our thing.
Every single person who's tried to do something good has lost everything in the process. All you've got to do is
bottom. That was the one right on the bottom. I
got to wait till it gets ready.
You just went away from it.
I'm not going to watch all these words. It'll go back there in a second. There we go.
That little guy right on the bottom there.
Oh, the zip?
Yeah, I had a friend of mine that had one of those. That was fun as all hell.
Everybody hates the zip, dude. You got to hate the zip.
Let's talk about compromise and the Second Amendment. One of the best ways
So this is the interview with the guy 7 years ago when he invented it. And first time I ever seen it. And then here's like 5 days later, whenever I got one. I did it the old-fashioned way by buying one. And then look at that. See how many times I zipped the shit out of that video? That's back when I gave a shit, almost. 2013. Is there one other zip video that starts off like this?
Look at you. Oh, Karen.
the Zip 22.
That's what I'm talking about.
Editing things and whatnot.
Couple different options. This one is the
Zip the shit out of it.
How long have you been making those?
What? Then whatever day I made this video was like the day before they invented it. So this video is me interviewing the guy at SHOT Show that year.
I'm the inventor of the gun.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I came up with this idea 20 years ago. The gun is extremely compact, and because it's compact, you can climb. You can literally climb all over the gun in the use of the gun.
So 2013, first time they showed it at SHOT. So this was in a little place. Glock is kind of behind them. Smith & Wesson is kind of in front of them. There's like a elevator over here where that little tiny Mosin, that little tiny Mosin Nagant they make. Who the hell makes that? Some tiny company makes that.
Yeah, they like do a cricket and they make it into a Mosin.
Cricket. No, it's Cricket. So you know how big Cricket is. They're like tiny little companies. So Cricket is always like if this guy would be pointing at the Cricket booth. So this is like I'm trying to describe like this little corner where Cricket hangs out in SHOT Show. So Cricket is upstairs. Like they're upstairs in the big room. But like if SHOT Show was a restaurant, every time the kitchen door opens, Cricket gets hit by the door, right? That's the seat they've got. And this place was right next door. So this place was on the top floor of SHOT, but sort of where nobody's seen them. And anyway, 2013. And then this was going to the range and shooting it, I think. Or no, this is just fiddling with it. Here we are at the range. People can't get around that you got to wiggle on that stick, like, you're going to shoot your finger out. There's a stick. It's different. It's different. There's a stick.
So I'm going to go ahead and lube it up a little bit. Well, I'm still having trouble with the BX25 mags, which they tell you right in the packaging that they're going to have trouble with. So let's try it with a different style. I brought a line and a Ruger mag.
So I'm like, I'll try it with a different
so
25 round mag.
This is the Ruger 10 round mag, and I didn't load it all the way. I just put a few rounds in it to see if it'll feed.
The 2 rounds
we had a
in
failure to feed that. It looks like it extracted. Okay. See, it shot fairly reliable with the 10 rounder. The holding is not like it's. All right, top left there. It ain't bad considering those are kind of crude sights.
Yeah, it's a goofy gun, but here's what it is. The guy that was inventing it back here made this other gun. One time I was at the shop and
Grammarly
they had.
can help you write quick.
Fuck off, Grammarly. Why don't you shut the fuck up? The guy that invented that gun used to make this gun.
Everybody's familiar with this one.
Which is called the U.S. Firearms something gun, USAF or something like that. And it's basically made in the Colt factory with the Colt plans. It was like a Colt. Made in Connecticut, like literally in the building. Like the facility that was Colt rented out places, and one of the people that rented it was this U.S. whatever it's called, and they would make their guns based off the Colt patent. Now, I think the deal was that they manufactured the parts somewhere else. Yeah, it's USAF or USFA. That's what it is. U.S. Firearms. I'm not sure what that thing A was. But anyway, super nice guns, super nice revolvers. And what the hell had happened? I just read about it. Something had happened, and they had to. The guy sold everything. I think the city or someplace had told them they couldn't do business there anymore. Something changed. So whenever it changed, he's like, okay, I'll sell all the revolver stuff and start making this zip. And that's when everybody went, oh no, you can't do that. You can't make that gun. Oh, there's Keystone. So Pink knows what I'm talking about. They're basically like hugging the elevator shaft. There's a place where there's emergency elevator and then stairways to go up and down to the basement. and then like they cram a I don't know what to call it, like it's almost like a coffee stand, but they have sandwiches, except they're like sandwiches that somebody in Toledo made, wrapped it in plastic wrap, and then shipped it to Vegas, and they set it out warm on a little heat lamp, and then you're supposed to buy that and eat it in the middle of a trade show, and somehow they're selling the shit out of those, and then like soda out of a fountain. So they have sort of a food vending thing there, but it's between the two bathroom doors. So again, it's like, I'm really hungry, so I'm going to go between the two bathroom doors and get one of them warm sandwiches wrapped in saran wrap. It's supposed to be a submarine sandwich, like some kind of cold sandwich, but instead of being in a refrigerated unit, it's just sitting here with lights on it. So I'm gonna get that. It's a couple of mayonnaise packets and a soda, and I'm gonna eat that. So,
I think you figured out where that shot show cred comes from then.
Yeah, because those people don't wash their hands probably, and then they go around touching everybody.
Yeah,
I don't know. But there is those places. They also sell like pretzels. It'll be like the kind of stuff you get in a movie theater, probably. Pretzels, except like for some reason like a thing of fruit. Like, oh, I know, let's have a cup of fruit, because that's what people are going to want in the middle of a trade show. It's like a $9 cup of fruit.
So
$9. There's almost pieces of fruit in here. Of course it's $9. Oh, you need a spork? That's $10.
So they get their hands all sticky and then go touch all their guns?
I never thought about that. That must be some kind of issue. I mean, the guns do get gross after a while.
Sure.
Because, people fiddling with them. But yeah, I never thought about that. There's definitely, it's different. Back in the day, it would be actually interesting. We weren't really allowed to take video, there was no video. We weren't allowed to take pictures of the crowd, but I did anyway. So I do have a couple of pictures of the crowd, but they're definitely like from halfway up a stairway looking back at like a big hallway of people. It's not just over their heads looking, because you weren't allowed to take pictures like that back in the day, or at least there was consequences, I think, if you did, and we were new enough that we paid attention. But anyway, it would be interesting to see the difference, because now that you're saying that, I can remember the first times we would go to SHOT. It was in the Real Convention Center in Vegas, and the Real Convention Center has like a big chunk, another big chunk, like the other big chunk, and then probably more that I haven't been in. And between these big chunks are like designated sections between the big chunks of convention center. And that's where like the smaller rooms are for off sessions, and the concessions are like legit. It's like the concessions of a mall or something. Like there's options, and they're permanently there. They have signage and everything. So I can remember the early SHOT shows when it was like lunchtime, quote unquote, for whatever reason, even though there was no rule, like everybody would just at lunchtime decide to go all eat at the same time. So it's like, hey, even though we're in a convention center and we can eat anytime, period, let's all go eat at the same time. So everybody would have to go wait in line for no reason instead of just, not going at the same time. Anyway, I can remember that and basically having the same argument. Like, why the fuck would we want to stop what we're doing and go eat? Especially when 90% of the other people are doing the same thing, when we could literally walk the aisles almost without knocking into people and almost have people's absolute attention. They might be hungry and they might be butthurt that they didn't get to go eat, but we'd have most of SHOT to ourselves. Instead, we're going to go wait in line for a piece of pizza or whatever. So anyway, I was thinking about that back in the day, it would be unheard of to walk around SHOT with food. And I think that nowadays, I haven't thought about it. Pink will have to tell me, or anybody else that might be out there watching that's been there. But I think people walk around with food more now. I definitely think I've bumped into people eating popcorn. I was like, what the fuck is wrong with you walking around a SHOT show eating fucking popcorn? Because what are you going to go touch? Like, number one, if you just shake somebody's hand, you're an asshole, because now you got popcorn all over them, and they weren't eating popcorn. Right, all that butter and crap. But then two, what are you going to go shake the hands of somebody who's working or touch something? Yeah, like that's just dumb. And what if you're picking up a piece of paper? Like, oh, this piece of paper is interesting to me. Let me get a bunch of popcorn grease on it real quick and then put it into my bag. And then drinking. I know people will sometimes in the evening when they start handing out beer, like whenever I would get a beer or whatever, I never hung out. I'd get the beer and keep walking. So there's some people that'll walk around with drinks from the booths, but that's not until the booths do that. And they don't do that until the end of the day. and not every booth does it, and not everybody walks around. So it's not really a thing, but I have seen people, drinking in SHOT Show for sure. But now that I'm thinking about it again, you never saw like somebody walking around with like a freaking concession Coke cup with a straw, walking around. And I think you might see that more now. There's probably rules against it, but it's one of them things where, the people that are guarding the doors are more worried about somebody walking out with a machine gun than walking in with a concession soda or whatever, I think.
So Pig saying he just hurdles he was worried about hurdling the milk crate carts.
See, I don't get that. I mean, you see what I'm seeing. That happens, but I said I've had the rolling milk crates before, so I understand that. I mean, I guess every once in a while I'm like, oh, I found one of the people everybody hates or whatever, but most of the time you can tell it's somebody that's running a store, and it's the cart is usually full of all their catalogs because they are taking them back to their customers or what.
Right.
But yeah, every once in a while and then, it's how many people? 60,000 people? How many new people every year? Because I still think it takes you 5 years before you calm your jets and you quit being a spaz about SHOT Show. Most people run around like weird for the first couple of years because they haven't seen it all yet. And then it takes them a while before they figure out that they think they've seen it all, especially now that it's in the same place always. And so that's the first year, everybody's like a tourist. Like, everybody's got their own idea. I mean, maybe they've been coached a little bit, but most people don't. They just do whatever they think. And well, the main problem is that the distributors hand out those milk crates. Nobody brings, I have brought one because I don't like having to wait in line to get one for free. And I like free stuff, but I won't wait in that line because those things only cost $15 or something. So we have brought one when we needed them back in the day, but I haven't even brought it 8 years or 10 years or something. But back in the day, you did need it. And you would also get more stuff. You don't remember back in the days, dude. One of the reasons we bought that thing so we could go up to the media room and get stuff and carry more crap out of the media room. Like they gave us stuff back in the day. There was prize packs. There was like butter you up packs, and you could take 2 if you wanted. So, we're greedy and like free stuff. So they're going to hand it out. I need a giant bucket to carry it out of there with. But then that would be, having it in the car all day, grabbing it towards the end of the day, running up and ripping off a bunch of stuff with it, and then pouring it into the car real quick. Not like walking around all day with it. Now, if those things were a little more convenient, oh, you know what? One of them strollers, how you've seen people do shooting events where they turn strollers into gun things? If you turned one of them strollers into some kind of a SHOT Show cart, I might get down on that. That could be interesting. Or maybe a version of a stroller mixed with that old people seat thing. Some old people walk around with that wheelie seat thing so they can sit down whenever they want.
Right.
Hook up one of them seats with some sort of like tri-basket arrangement so that so you can sit down, but you can sit down and have a little space because you got your baskets all around you. Like that would be nice. And then again, be able to if I'm going to drag around something to sit on, I want to have enough cargo capacity to make it worth the effort. So have plenty of cargo capacity. This year might be only different too. Who knows? It'll probably be less crowded this year, I think.
Will they make you up one direction too?
Whatever. So does Walmart. Who knows how long that'll last? Plus, you seriously think anybody's going to care about this garbage 5 minutes after they don't have to anymore? As soon as there's not pressure to worry about this shit, I'm hoping that everyone quits worrying about it. There's some percentage chance that it's just going to be a regular SHOT Show anyway. If that's the case, it could be very light because a bunch of people got scared when they should have been making their plans and didn't make any plans to go. And that would be the best case scenario. Nobody shows up and it turns out to be normal. So it's just the most empty, awesome SHOT Show ever because only the people that showed up, the people that showed up are digging it that other people showed up and there's so few people. That would be the best case scenario. Worst case would be 100% restrictions and everybody decides to go. So it gets more crowded than ever, more restrictive than ever. Everybody's got to take some kind of chemical mist shower before they walk in. And then everyone's quarantined for 14 days after. Some guy coughs in the middle of it.
They take your temperature on the way in.
Yeah, but like then they won't let you out. They're like, "Uh-oh, something happened, and you all got to stay in here." And then we all have to stay in that building from Tuesday for 14 days without leaving. All they're going to do is bring in like MREs or some gross equivalent. That's it. No bathrooms either, because
I think they just throw you on the street. It's like, beat it.
no, they can't do that because that would be harmful to Vegas. They're just going to lock everybody in there. So I don't know what would happen then. Everybody would probably just be polite and mind their business for 14 days, I imagine. All right. Well, this show went all over the place. We gave away a flag, kinda. It turned out to be a scam. Our scam was made clear, evident to everybody. Do you guys got anything else?
No, I'm good.
2 hours into this craziness.
I just playing with that gun I wanted to know about.
I'm sure you could buy one now. I don't think anybody's got much confidence that they're going to grow in value or anything. But have I ever seen one for sale? I mean, it kind of took an effort. I had to wait in line. I had to let the shop know that I wanted one so that they would even order one. And then, they didn't get like a ton. So, there wasn't like they were ever just sitting on shelves. But I don't know if they're available now or not. Did I see the story that Clark County is limiting shows to 1,000 people? No. So let's go take a look. Short show, that would be a whole different kind of show. Not shoe? No, not show. It's from September. How about Vegas? Starship.
I'm gonna go ahead and bounce out, fellas. Have a great rest of the morning, and catch you on the flip.
Night, DJ.
Yeah, thanks for jumping in. We'll be ending it here.
Yeah, I won't be too.
Says that the Star Trek convention is canceled
Oh no.
or rescheduled. Well, I already know that. No, I guess I haven't seen it, Pink. I don't know where to look for like new news. I don't do that enough, so I don't have like good sites or whatever to look at. Looks like most of this problem with looking at Vegas stuff is there's like so many people that have an interest in Vegas that there's a ton of people attempting to satisfy that interest. So you get a bunch of different sites. This one looks pretty decent, but it looks more like way more detailed into the events, the actual events, and when they're rescheduled than like overall. But maybe under news. Maybe under news. This looks like the kind of site that would talk about that aspect of Vegas, right? Republican voters take a radical conspiracy theory mainstream. Maybe it is not a conservative thing. Why these voters rejected Hillary but are backing Joe Biden? How long will the pandemic set back our students? Years. And that's because of Trump. If Trump would have reacted better. All right, well, so maybe this one isn't going to be impartial. This looks like the kind of place that would be like, luckily Vegas is making it impossible to have any kind of event for our safety.
Maybe a yay gun show, not so much.
Yeah, exactly. Like, yay, they got rid of the gun show. I think she'll make them. It's just a matter of when she does batches or whatever.
Yeah, for sure.
She has to get like a bunch of flour and yeast together and has to wait for the flags to rise and then gets them all divided out, figuring out how many she has to make. It's a big deal. Has to get the ovens going. Of course, it's getting to be fall, so it's probably easier to talk her into getting the flag ovens going. Yeah, I can't find it. Next for conventions. Oh, maybe. What?
With the new place, you might have better ovens too.
That's a good point. You got fancy carpet in that place, so I don't know if she's going to get flour everywhere. See, I'm looking for something about the sands. Still nothing. You know what though? I'll bet you it's all still speculation, honestly. Like if there is something out there, it could change, right? Because either we're gonna get some kind of recurgence or whatever it would be, and then things will change, or it's all evaporate, like so much spilled alcohol or spilled isopropyl alcohol, something that evaporates quick. You know, it might just all be gone here in a minute. I must have missed the popcorn. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I'm thinking of like the hallway or something. But I did not see that. Oh, there you go. Put the link right in here. How am I going to get this link? I gotta go over here and get it from on this side. Look, then I can just get to it. All right. Clark County details requirements for large gatherings. Oh snap! This is from today. Released a detailed look at blah, 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 blah. With the events with a seating capacity of 2,500 or more would be capped at 250 people. That's not quite us. Trade shows, conferences, and blah, 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 with more than 250 people would be capped at a total of 1,000. Yeah, that would screw it up. That would be like me and barely only 900 other people, probably. I guess it's all right. Clark County says blah, blah, blah. Will be required. Plan must address how the event will confirm that do not have any symptoms. Designate a licensed or certified medical professional who must always be located on the site. Designate a primary contact from the event organizer that will be responsible for collecting and retaining names and contact information for the attendees for 60 days following the gathering event to assist local health authorities with contact tracing should there be a positive case identified from the gathering.
I'm out.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, like, hey, let me just be associated, locked in lockstep with like every other attendee of an event. Complete and submit diagrams of the layout, convention, conference, meeting, seating areas as applicable to identify the sections, pods, and other required seating arrangements as the ingress and egress points for attendees. Wow.
Yeah, I would do none of that.
It's going to be so healthy they won't even have to do business, or maybe not be able to do business. Identify how event registration and check-in will be accomplished to avoid crowding.
Ooh, yeah.
Identify the barriers, markings, or other elements that would be used to reinforce social distancing, such as stanchions or hedges.
So you're gonna be in cattle gates outside.
No, it's even worse because a hedge, it's like not even just the like little back and forth things, but like now we got to build something that's 6 feet wide or whatever so that nobody can possibly be, you know what I mean? Like that's like infrastructure, I think. Or maybe those like putting up tables everywhere so that you'd have to crawl over a table to get close to somebody. Identify the staff. Like I went to the post office whenever the whole thing happened where I dropped the UPS stuff into the post office box thing and I had to go back to the post office to get the UPS shit. I had to wait in line and everything, and you got those like little boxes, all these like little buried treasures everywhere. We have to 6 foot apart from each other, and then you finally get up there, and they've got like boxes taped to the wall and like this big plastic thing, like the old bulletproof glass things where you can't like spit on them, and then like a whole table, like they moved folding tables in front of, so you couldn't even if you wanted to get up and spit at the guy, you wouldn't be able to because you couldn't get close enough to get a spit all the way to him, right? And they had this all set up on these like staggered, what do you call like positions or counters or whatever, at the post office. But the way they had set all this bullshit up, everybody was just walking up next to the tables. So it was staggered. So it was just dumb. Like everybody, like they had set it all up to the, so you couldn't address the people right head on. But because it was so far away, nobody could hear. So you would walk around the table to the side, and everyone did that. And the clerk, instead of looking straight forward, would just turn to their side and look kind of across their thing, where normally it would just be, they were kind of standing next to the way it's staggered. The clerk would be standing kind of next to the customer of the next clerk. Well, they never put a barrier there. So everybody was just shifting where they stood and talking to each other normally, just ignoring all this garbage. So it's just, it's just that kind of thing. That whole picture that they always show where there's, a fence in the middle of nowhere and there's a path where everybody's just walked around the fence, or the gate, I guess, in the middle of nowhere, and everybody just walks around the gate. It's just in the middle of a path for no reason. Anyway, so this sounds pretty crazy. And let's see what this is. It says Clark County requirements. So since this just came out today, maybe we will see something come out from SHOT Show that says or something to the equivalent.
Well, good luck with that, G. I'm going to go to bed.
Right on. Thanks for jumping in. So now I can finally, now that I've worn everybody out, see, I wear all that's how you can tell how much 2A they have, is how much stamina they have, the 2A stamina. So, now that I've proven I have more 2A stamina, I can finally quit.
We already knew you had more than me.
All right. Okay, jumping in. All right. Yeah. So thanks, Pink. Hopefully that won't ruin it. Or if it does, maybe everybody will just say, we'll just go do it out in the desert or something, right? Can California handle the aroma of freedom flags? I don't know. They can, because she makes gluten-free, non-dairy, non-animal based, plant-based flags. So they're good to go. I think they can handle the aroma. Otherwise, thanks everybody for showing up. We'll end it right at the 2 minutes and 5 seconds mark, and we'll be back tomorrow.